911, what is your emergency?
Every day, emergency services call handlers expertly deal with those in desperate situations.
When we pick up 911, you never know what type of call you'll answer.
Taking calls from terrified victims.
This is not a joke. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna bleed to death, I'm afraid.
No, you're not, sir.
To listening to cold-blooded killers.
My friend and I got into an altercation. I'm the only one who came out alive.
Are you telling me you killed somebody?
These are the stories behind the emergency call.
I can honestly say I could never have been trained enough for that call doctor.
With never-before-seen footage, we explore the real story behind the most shocking emergency calls.
My son fell in with a gorilla. Who's dragging my son? I can't watch this.
Right, call it.
Please, I've just come back to my flat and the door was locked, so I crawled through the window and my flatmate's covered in blood in the bathroom.
Can you have a look and see if she's breathing for the ambulance?
She's not.
She's not breathing.
She's not breathing, she's actually blue, please. Oh.
Okay.
Please help her. I don't know what to do.
Alice was the third of our 4 children. She always had a smile on her face, and as she grew up, she was very sensitive to how other people felt. So she would notice if you were unhappy, and she'd always come out with some little story or some little joke that would have you rolling on the floor, and she was very good like that.
After she finished her degree, she got a job working for Sky. That job suited her so much. It just gave, it utilised all the skills that she had.
Go Alice!
I first met Alice when she started in Sky as a sales advisor. She was known as the posh girl because of her accent and how she came across, and she got me and I got her, and we really did complement each other's personalities, which was lovely.
So when?
By this time, she was really confident, she was really rocketing on in her career, and it was perfect for her, really.
Alice, are you awake? Alice, I don't want to touch her. I really don't want to touch her. Please, I need somebody here right now.
I know you do. We're getting to you as soon as we can. Okay, just try and stay calm.
Oh,
Where are you?
She's dead, she's dead.
Try and stay calm. Maxine.
She went on holiday with a friend. They went to Indonesia. And the friend posted some pictures on Facebook, and a friend of the friend saw the pictures, and his name was Truman Dillon, although he called himself Harry. He messaged his friend and said, I really like the look of that girl who you were on holiday with. Can you introduce us? And that was how she met him.
26-year-old Harry Dillon was a Lance Corporal in the British Army, stationed just outside of Edinburgh, 100 miles away from Alice's home in Gateshead.
Initially, the relationship between Truman Dillon and Alice was a sort of online thing, so they spent a lot of time texting each other or messaging on Facebook, a lot of Skype conversations, and Alice was quite besotted by him. The relationship escalated very, very quickly, and she just thought this was the one. This was going to be a really perfect relationship.
Try and calm down, try and breathe. You're doing really, really well. You've done the right thing by giving us a ring. Try and breathe. I know it's very difficult. You've had a shock, just try and stay calm.
Please help me.
I know. How old's Alice?
She's only 23. I mean, knew this was coming. I she's an absolute psychopath.
We knew a lot about Truman Dillon because he was a serving soldier in the British Army, served in the Scottish Regiment. He was training to enter the Special Reconnaissance Regiment. He had a fairly good disciplinary record at work. There was nothing about him on the face of things that made him stand out. But what we did know, Truman Dillon was a complicated character. He had been doted on as an only child. He'd been spoilt. He'd been brought up to believe that he was the centre of everybody's world. As an adult, he was a narcissist. He needed to be worshipped by any woman he was in a relationship with. But at the same time, he treated his partners appallingly. He was unfaithful. He had multiple partners. And all he really wanted was to be worshipped by women.
She was becoming gradually less happy, and she started to lose friends. Dylan was exploiting any little difference between her and any friends. He'd get in there and try and say things to different people and make it all far worse. And so what he was actually doing was separating her from her friends. And he'd criticise the things she was wearing and other nasty things.
Well, Harry would ask, or more like tell Alice what to wear and to dress more conservatively. As well as that, he would also ask for photos to prove where she was. So say, for instance, Alice went out with a friend and he didn't believe her. He would ask Alice to, well, send me a Snapchat so he can prove where you are, which was the next level of control after telling her what to wear and how to look.
One of the things he made her do was every morning she had to take a photograph of herself with what she was wearing, and he would approve whether that was a suitable outfit for her to wear for work. It's very difficult for us to believe that somebody who was so confident and outgoing could be reduced to this sort of level. Alice received a message from a girl on Facebook who said, there's something I think you need to know. I was on Tinder the other day and I found this boy I quite liked the look of, and I messaged him and he said he was single and he quite liked to start a relationship with me. So I researched him and I found his Facebook page, and on his Facebook page it says he's in a relationship with you. So I think you ought to know that this is what your boyfriend's doing, which is a nice thing for this girl to do. And when Alice questioned him about this, he decided it was his friends who'd set up this Tinder account and had done all this, and it was absolutely nothing to do with him at all. I don't think Alice really believed that.
She broke it off at that point. She said she couldn't bear that. And it was at that point, when she broke it off, that all that control that he'd been exerting up to that point turned to stalking.
She's contacted 101 because she put in a statement about him 2 weeks ago. And
About who?
Our ex-boyfriend, Harry Dillon.
Right, so she been having problems with her ex?
Yes.
So do you think that's what it is?
Yeah.
He starts to bombard her with messages, voicemails.
I'm just really sad and lonely. I don't really understand what's going on. I really love you, and just want to know what's going on. Please, just one question on that Snapchat. Just answer that, please.
He continued to message her all the time, so he was ringing her up. He rang her up from his own phone, and she eventually, she blocked the number so he couldn't ring her, but he could still leave messages even though the number was blocked. He got himself several other phones and he rang up from those. He'd borrow his friends' phones and ring up from those. He'd try and get Alice's friends to pass messages on when she wouldn't keep up. He'd email her at work. He just was relentless in the way he pursued her. She'd received more than 200 contacts from him.
He thought he was clever with what he was doing and going around speaking to every other person. He never messaged me once because he knew I seen right through him.
I can hear the sirens. Oh.
What's he called, the ex?
Harry Dillon.
Harry?
Dillon.
Dillon?
Yeah, I think it's definitely him.
Why?
Sorry?
Why do you think it's him?
Because he was threatening to do bad things to her and stuff.
She was in her house on her own one night and the doorbell rang, and she went to look through the spy hole and there was nobody there. And this happened several times. She opened the door and there was still nobody there, and she looked out. And eventually she rang him and said, "Is it you who keeps ringing my doorbell?" And he said, "No, it's not me. I've been in I've been in Princess Garden all evening, which is somewhere in Edinburgh. And then he rang again and said, actually, no, I've been in your garden since 5 o'clock this evening and I've just been watching you.
At this point, she was frozen with fear. And there was a chap on the bedroom window. When she opened the blinds, she had noticed a bunch of flowers and a box of chocolates on the windowsill. And there Harry Dillon was standing at the window, batting away, his hands raised as if to say, it's okay, don't panic. He knew exactly what he was doing to Alice, and he knew, her seeing him at that point, that would have put the fear of God into her. And he knew that, and he knew exactly what he was doing, and that was his way of saying, you'll never get rid of me, and I'll come for you.
He phoned Alice on his way back up to Edinburgh, and he left a really quite a chilling message on her phone.
Killing you is something that I've never, ever, ever thought about, and I will never, ever even think about that. So, I don't know, man. I just wanted to give you flowers and chocolates to prove that, no, I don't want to kill you. I'm not intending to kill you. I was there when, nah, it's fine. That's all I wanted to say. I didn't want to kill you, that's why I gave you chocolates and flowers and walked up the stairs.
Yes, he's saying, I'm never going to kill you. Where's he got this from? No one actually mentioned him killing her. So that's come from his mind anyway. And of course, it's a veiled threat, isn't it? He's saying, I will never kill you. You know, and if that's not a veiled threat, it's hard to know what is.
Alice described to me that the fear she felt going through her body, she'd never felt before. She then listened to the advice that she'd had numerous times off her family and friends is to phone the police.
Good evening, Northumbria Police. How can I help you?
I split up with my boyfriend about 3 months ago, and he's been sending me a lot of messages even though I've asked him not to contact me. Like, my friends have been telling me to call the police. I've been putting it off, but I just feel a bit, like, shaken up tonight.
It can be classed as harassment.
Yeah.
Which is a crime.
Yeah.
And we can issue them with a PIN notice, which means if he ever comes near you again or contacts you again, he'll be arrested.
Okay. Try that option, please.
Yeah, of course you can.
The problem with the PIN notice is that, well, there's a problem with any sort of restraining order with a stalker, because stalking is about obsession and control. Any order like that is a challenge. It's saying to a stalker, we're challenging your control, stop. And if that person has reached a certain point and they can't stop, they're going to find another way of controlling. And this is where it becomes really, really dangerous, because it ups the ante. That means that if a control order, a restraining order or something is issued, the police have to act when it's breached.
It was arranged that the PIN notice would be issued to him by his commanding officer. Police thought that the officer giving him the warning would carry more weight. He was a serving soldier and he'd do what he was told to do by his commanding officer. He attended, he received the warning, and he gave every assurance that he'd got over it, that he wouldn't contact her again.
The contact stopped. She wasn't receiving messages, mails, emails, phone calls, and she thought, right, well, we can start to see the difference, until Alice had got home on Friday, where she had went home to a package from Harry. In this package was a letter, basically, again, emotional blackmail. I can't believe you've done this to me. How could you do this? I love you. I just want to be with you. But knowing going forward, I'm not going to make any contact with you. And in this parcel, there was belongings of him taking that control and keeping up that consistent contact to let Alice know that he was still there.
So, of course, this is a contact from him. So she phones the police. She's been told that he will be arrested the moment she breaches, so she rings up.
When she phoned the police, On this occasion, it was very different from the first.
Good afternoon, good evening, Northumbria Police. How can I help?
Somebody's been issued with a PIN so that they can't contact me. However, I've had a letter off them.
Right, okay. So you're reporting like the breach of the PIN?
Yeah.
Who is it from?
Harry Dillon.
So that's who the PIN is against, is it?
Yeah.
So do you want to call back to discuss this?
Yeah, what's usually what happens with it?
Let them know you want someone to contact you back. Just discuss what can be done.
Okay.
They just palmed her off.
And that's the horrible moment where Alice suddenly realises that he's not going to be arrested and that she wasn't being protected at all. And so she's back where she started, and I rang Sue and said, "Mum, I don't think it's ever going to stop." And so yeah, she was in desperation then, but she didn't know what to do.
3 days after reporting him to the police for a second time, Harry drives 100 miles from Edinburgh to Gateshead and photographs Alice's bathroom window.
Dillon was extremely obsessed with Alice. He knew that she was in the process of speaking to police, and that drove him over the edge. He'd made a reconnaissance down to Gateshead. He was obviously planning what he was going to do, and he came back down and visited her for that final time.
On the 12th of October 2016, Harry once again drove from his barracks in Edinburgh to Alice's house in Gateshead, arriving around 4 p.m. As Alice left work with a colleague, she was unaware that Harry was waiting for her, making sure that she was alone. Breaking into the house through a window, Harry took a knife from the kitchen and then cornered Alice in the bathroom.
Driving home that night was, the only way I can describe it was the strangest feeling. And when I got to the front door, I was shaking. I tried to use my key, couldn't open the front door, and I noticed that the living room window was open. I got through the window, and when I fell in through the window onto the couch, it was deathly silent. I then caught sight of Alice, lying in the bathroom. I didn't know what to do. I knew Alice was dead. I knew Alice was dead when I seen her.
Oh my God, she's dead.
It's okay.
Please help us. I don't know what to do. The police are here.
The police officer's there.
Yeah.
Okay. Close your phone down for me, Maxine.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Alice had been stabbed 6 times and her throat had been slashed. She was declared dead at the scene.
At 2 a.m, there was just a knock on the door. You know it's something horrible, but you just don't know what it is or who it is. And of course, as soon as they said it was about Alice, we knew who it was.
After brutally stabbing Alice to death, Harry Dillon drove back to his barracks in Edinburgh, where he was arrested just after midnight.
This is arresting Truman Dillon on suspicion of the murder of Alice Ruggles. I'll just repeat, right? You don't have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you don't mention any questions. Something that rely in court.
Are you saying that Alice is dead, or is she, or someone's?
All I can tell you is that you've been arrested on suspicion of the murder of Alice Ruggles, and that is all we are talking about, all right?
Just take it.
Hey?
This is not.
Oh, that's fine, John.
The trial against Harry came to court on April the 11th, 2017.
I always expected that perhaps at the very last minute, Tremaine Dillon would plead guilty to murder. It seemed he had no choice but to do so. Two people had been in that flat. One of them suffered a multitude of horrendous injuries with a knife. The other was utterly unscathed. He'd fled back to Scotland, taking with him Alice's phone. He couldn't deny he'd been there, in Gateshead, at the time. And this was his opportunity to have his own back, to put her family through the ordeal of a trial, to try and achieve some sort of terrible revenge over Alice's family, and to claim, as he was going to do in the trial, that Alice had effectively killed herself.
The thing that really came as a shock to all of us, I think, was just how manipulating he was still trying to be in court.
He was totally cruel and callous for the whole time. He has absolutely no remorse for what he did.
The jury, it didn't take them long. I mean, they went off to have lunch and then they came back.
Alice has left a massive Alice-shaped hole in my heart. My world will be completely different after Alice. How I discovered Alice. Does I struggle to remember her when she was alive? Because of what I see. And I'll never, ever get that out of my head. It's that image of Alice lying there. Never.
You're thinking about that person every day and where they might be now, and now they might be joining in with what you're doing or whatever, and you never forget them, never ever.
We started a charity called the Alice Ruggles Trust, and the aim is to raise awareness of stalking. More than 90% of murders have some form of stalking attached to them. So it just shows how really important it is that if somebody sees stalking, it's so dangerous and it is a crime and they need to be charged with stalking.
DeKalb Emergency 911 with the address of the emergency.
Yes, ma'am. I'm on 2nd Avenue in the school. Okay, I got a young man right here who has a gun.
What does he want?
She said, what do you want, sir?
I don't want nothing.
He said he doesn't want nothing. He just wants you to get them here. He told me to tell you that he doesn't care if he dies or lives. He doesn't have anything to live for. He told me to tell you to come prepared to lose some people. Ooh, wait a minute, sir. He told me to hang up.
Okay.
DeKalb County 911 is extremely busy. We take anywhere from 2,700 to 3,200 calls per day. What's the telephone number you're calling from? I wasn't scheduled to work that day. I was actually in on overtime. And when I got to work, my first 911 call was Miss Tuff.
Okay, stay on the line with me, man. Where are you?
I'm in the front office. Oh, he just went outside and started shooting.
51-year-old Antoinette Tuff was the bookkeeper at Ronald E. McNair Elementary School in Decatur, Atlanta. She had worked there for 8 years.
Oh, can I run?
Where do you? Can you get somewhere safe?
Yeah, I gotta go. No, he gonna see me running there and call me back. Oh, hold on.
Put the phone down.
Bye.
When she said that there was a gunman in the elementary school, my heart stopped.
This is a knockdown. All students and everybody in your classroom, do not leave the building and do not leave the car. This is an emergency lockdown. This is not a drill.
At 1 p.m, an unsuspecting parent held the door open allowing the gunman to enter the school where 800 children were in their classrooms. He headed to the front desk, where he took out an AK-47 and began to fire.
Oh, he just went outside and started shooting.
Tell him that we're getting someone at the location. Just tell him just to calm down.
Okay, he said to tell you that he has a bag full of ammo and to come prepared.
Okay.
She said, okay.
I didn't know whether or not anyone had been shot. I heard him shooting, but I had no idea who he was shooting at. Worst case scenario was going through my mind that someone could be injured. It could be a student.
Within minutes, police and emergency services began arriving at the school.
He said, send in one of your radios with an unarmed officer. He said, okay, she's getting ready to tell them. Or somewhere that he can talk to the police. He said, but if they come armed, he's going to start shooting again.
Okay.
Only one officer.
Okay.
I really didn't know what his intentions were. I didn't know what he wanted. I didn't know if he knew someone at this location who he was looking for. I didn't know why he chose this school. I didn't know what he was going to do to Miss Tuck.
He said to tell them to back off. He doesn't want the kids. He wants the police. So back off.
At the moment when he said that I don't want the kids, I want the police, it gave me a sense that he's there to kill an officer.
He said he don't care if he died. He don't have nothing to live for. And he said he's not mentally stable.
It was a very dangerous situation, and that shouldn't be underestimated. That type of individual, sadly, are very unpredictable. They're very jumpy. Even they don't know what they're possibly going to do. I do think he was serious. He wouldn't have gone to the venue with such a powerful weapon and so much ammunition if he wasn't serious.
Okay. Ask him, is he willing to give his name?
She said, are you willing to give your name? He said no.
Okay.
Have emergency 911. What's the address of your emergency?
I really don't have an address. This gonna sound real crazy. I'm trying to get in touch with my son, and I believe he was the shooter at McNair.
You think your son was the shooter at McNair?
Yeah, the McNair.
Okay, what's your son's name?
Michael Hill.
And what does Michael Hill look like?
He's white. He's approximately 5'8", maybe 220, 230. He got blonde hair, hazel eyes.
20-year-old Michael Hill had had a troubled childhood. Abused by his late father, his mother battled with drugs and alcohol and served time in prison for burglary before she died in 2010. Michael spent years in the care system and tried killing himself at least 9 times. In his late teens, he showed up at the Prophetical World Church in Decatur and was taken in by the local pastor and his wife, who made him part of their family.
Does your son have any history of any mental problems?
Yes.
What is he?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm just so nervous. Bipolar, schizophrenia, ADHD.
Schizophrenia, ADHD. What else?
Bipolar.
Bipolar?
Yes.
And he's medically diagnosed with all these?
Yes.
Is he taking medications?
Yes.
All right. I'm going to let you go for right now, and I'll call you back, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right.
After 11 minutes of being inside the school, Michael began to realize that what he was doing was wrong.
He said he should have just went to the mental hospital instead of doing this because he's not on his medication. He didn't hit anybody. He just shot outside the door. If I walk out there with him, so they won't shoot him or anything like that, he wants to give himself up. Is that okay? And they won't shoot him?
Yes,
and he said he just want to go to the hospital?
Okay.
There was a very slim sense of relief that he was actually willing to give up. But being a 911 operator, I know that that can go left immediately, within seconds.
She said,
hold on one moment.
Okay, she said, hold on, and she's going to talk to the police officer, and I'll go out there with you.
Well, that's a very brave thing to do, isn't it? To walk out of a door in front of a lot of armed police officers and where there could have been some communication problem. So I think she more than ever established her credentials as being there for him.
It's going to be all right, sweetie. I just want you to know that I love you, though, okay? And I'm proud of you. That's a good thing that you've just given up, and don't worry about it.
Antoinette, her mother instincts kicked in. So she was treating Michael as if he was either her child or a relative, somebody she cared about.
We all go through something in life. No, you don't want that. You're gonna be okay.
You know, it's okay, baby. You know, it's okay. They're not gonna do anything. It's gonna be all right.
Well, don't feel bad, baby. My husband just left me after 33 years. Yes, you do. I mean, I'm sitting here with you and talking to you about it.
Antoinette was talking to Michael in a very natural way, and she was also building up the trust with him. If you can imagine, how difficult is it to form a relationship with a complete stranger in a very stressful and tense situation? It's almost an impossible task to ask people to do, isn't it? But she has managed to do it, and building up that trust, he felt as if he could confide in her, he felt as if he could rely on her, but more importantly, he felt that she was there for him.
We all go through something in life. No, you don't want that. You're going to be okay. I thought the same thing after my husband left me. But look at me now. I'm still working and everything is okay. Okay, wait a minute. So can you talk to the police and let them know that I'm going to walk out there with him and he wants to give himself up?
Okay, I am. Let me get an okay from them, okay?
Okay. And you let me know what we need to do. He wants me to go on the intercom and let everybody know that he's sorry, okay?
Okay.
Okay, hold on.
Everybody, this was locked down. Walking up to there, everybody know that he's sorry. He does not want to harm anybody. Everybody stay in place. The lockdown is over.
He wants to say sorry. He just doesn't want to say sorry to her. He wants to say sorry to the whole school. That's a really big thing, isn't it? To actually apologise to a whole school. He must have been thinking, what have I done? So I think that was the turning point, really. She was the game changer, without a doubt.
Ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, he's going to come on now. And he said he'll be on the ground with his hands behind his back, and I'll take the gun from him and put it over here on the other side by me.
Okay, one moment.
Okay. Okay, he's on the ground now with his hands behind the back. Tell the officers don't come in with any gun, don't come in shooting or anything, so they can come on in, and I'll buzz them in.
Okay.
So hold on, just sit right there, and I'm going to buzz them in, okay? So you'll know when they're coming, okay? Okay. Okay, he said that they can come on in now, and he needs to go to the hospital. He's laying on the floor, and he doesn't have any weapons, and he's got everything out of his pocket. There's no, the only thing he has on is his belt. Everything is out of his pockets. Everything is sitting here on the counter. So all we need to do is they can just come and I'm going to buzz them in so he'll know that they're here and everything, and they can come on in and get him.
Okay, one moment.
Okay. Yeah, she said she's going to let them know. She's talking to them now to let them know to come on in and to take you to the hospital, okay? He said, do you want him to go out there with his hands up, or you want him to stay right here?
Stay right where he is.
Okay, she said stay right there where you are. He said, what are y'all waiting for? What's taking them so long to come on? They're coming. They're coming. So just hold on, Michael. Go ahead and lay down. So go ahead and lay down. Tell them to come on. Okay, it's just him. I'm telling you something, babe. I ain't never been so scared all the days of my life.
Me either. But you did great.
Ooh, Jesus.
You did great.
Antoinette is not a professional negotiator. She did absolutely brilliantly. She's a real superstar. And don't forget, she's also very brave, because it's easy for us to listen to the tapes, but this was all done against the backdrop of an AK-47 and 500 rounds of ammunition.
Oh, God.
Okay, babe. Okay, Miss Hill.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye. You have a great one.
You too, bye-bye.
Bye.
Man, I've been through a lot. I got off work just to come here to get my baby. You know, I've been through a lot.
You must be relieved.
I'm relieved now.
Michael Hill pleaded guilty to 13 counts, which included burglary, aggravated assault, illegal possession of a firearm, carrying a gun in a school zone, and making terroristic threats. He is currently serving a 20-year sentence for his crimes.
County 911, what's the location of your emergency?
Yes, ma'am. I was getting off of 75 on the Jericho Road exit. And there is literally a tiger.
Tiger?
Walking down the ramp. There is a tiger walking down the ramp onto the interstate.
Okay, it's walking onto the interstate down the exit ramp?
Correct.
And what exactly does it look like?
Tiger.
A little after 5 o'clock in the morning, I received a call from one of our local game wardens telling me that there was a tiger on the loose on the Interstate 75. While you're driving to the scenes, we're keeping in mind that we don't know where this tiger came from. It could have been an illegal pet, escaped from a facility that's permitted. It could be any number of things. But we always keep in mind that they're wild animals and that you never really know what they might do.
So it's getting on the ramp?
It's on the ramp going south, actually going south on the ramp.
So it's on the exit ramp walking southbound?
Walking southbound onto the interstate.
From the initial reports of the tiger being on the on-ramp, sometime later it was spotted by some employees at Hardee's making its way by the restaurant. And at some point it apparently jumped some fences and ended up in a neighborhood nearby. This is getting on toward school time. Kids will be going to the buses, walking around, and that was concerning to everybody. It made the situation potentially dangerous.
We had woken up to Journey barking, which was abnormal, the way that she was barking. It was a kind of worrisome bark, I suppose, like intruder bark. Like I'd never heard my dog bark like this before. Journey was 7 years old and was in the backyard on a runner. My husband and I, we were laying in bed. You could see all of the cop car lights and they were just beaming off of our wall. So it lit up the entire bedroom. The local jail, the Henry County Jail, was right down the street. So we're thinking someone has escaped, someone has just ran into our backyard and was hiding in it, something like that. I peeked out the window through the blinds and saw there's probably 10 cop cars outside in our lawn, not even just on the street or in our driveway. They were like nose to nose with our front porch. So me being me and nosy, I walk out the front door and go to pop my head out, and a cop yells at me and tells me to get back inside. I was very worried. I had no idea what was going on. It was 5:30, almost 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm thinking my kids have to get up and start getting ready for school. We went to the back window, which overlooks the entire backyard, which is completely lit up with the cops' high beams. And my husband says, "Oh my God, it's a tiger." It was a 700-pound Bengal tiger walking up and down the fence.
Henry County 911, what's the location of your emergency?
There's a tiger in the front yard.
There's a what, ma'am?
A tiger.
You said there's a tiger in the front yard?
A full-size tiger. And me and my brother both just saw it.
Okay, are you off of Jodico?
Yes.
How long ago did you see it?
5 seconds. It's huge.
It was a normal day. I heard my brother and Brittany going through the house. It was a little earlier than it was supposed to be. And I seen a bunch of lights and stuff shining around the yard and everything. And I seen my brother standing in the dining room, and we looked out and there was a tiger in the neighbor's yard. And Journey was yelping and hollering. And she started running back and forth on her runner, and that's when the tiger jumped the fence.
I'm panicking because my dog is out there. The tiger's now in our backyard, which is probably 12 feet from where Journey was at. Well, my husband yelled, "It has Journey." The tiger starts attacking Journey. I was terrified for my dog's life. My first instinct was to run out there and grab her myself, which obviously was not an option. It would get a hold of her. We're talking head inside of mouth, swatting, that kind of stuff, like a cat would a mouse. Every time Journey tried to run away, she'd of course get stuck on the runner and get yanked back, and she was being hurt. The cops at this point were trying to just get the tiger away from Journey. They were making these noises, try to scare the tiger away a little bit, and nothing.
They were waiting on Fish and Game to get here to tranquilize it, but it had got on top of Journey first, so the police took it into their own hands. They didn't know what was gonna happen. If it was gonna finish with the dog and come towards them or what.
You hear the first shotgun round go off, which is up in the air. Hoping that it would scare the tiger off. It did not.
The first shot was here, and then they just started shooting it, and it made its way to the fallen log back there.
The tiger had laid down. I think they just wanted to take it out of its misery, and that's when they went back there and did the last round. Animal control is on the scene.
They pulled it out of the weeds back there and brought it up here, and when Fish and Game got here, they backed into the yard and loaded it on the truck and took it with them.
The next step for us, now that the animal had been euthanized, was to determine where the tiger came from. We checked the animal for a microchip and indeed found one. When we ran the number through the American companies, we did not get any results. It turns out the chip had been installed in Europe, and we did not have access to that system, and it was going to take a few days to get that information. Later that afternoon, we received a phone call from an attorney from Failed Entertainment. Tigers were part of the Failed Entertainment group, so they were part of the Circus Act, and they had been housed in Tampa, Florida. They were to be transported back to Germany, so they were headed to Memphis, Tennessee to get on a transport plane to Germany. As the caravan of cages made its way through Georgia, they stopped around midnight just south of Atlanta, probably in Henry County, and to water the animals and check their loads. Later that day, when they got to Memphis and started unloading for their U.S. Fish and Wildlife inspection, they realized that there was damage to one tiger's cage and that she was missing. By the time the reports started coming in and law enforcement arrived on the scene, she'd been loose for 5 to 6 hours, and we really don't know what she'd been doing during that time.
I thought for sure she was gonna be just covered in scratches. I mean, I was thinking stitches, you know, the animal hospital for days, nothing. She had a small little hole on the top of her head from, again, a nail or a tooth, and that was it. Journey does suffer from a little bit of PTSD. She probably definitely needs some puppy Prozac or something to relax her, but she's fine.